Hello students, this is your English teacher Neha. Students, today we are going to do a poem, Lines Written in Early Spring by William Wordsworth. I'm going to explain the poem stanza wise, and while I do so, students, I request you to be ready with a rough copy and a pencil. While I explain stanza-wise, alongside you can write your doubts, or when I'm explaining you can just write down the meanings of certain words or certain lines as you wish. Now let's proceed with it. Students, William Wordsworth, the poet, wrote this poem in 1798 and he published it in a volume of poetry known as Lyrical Ballads. Now, you know the meaning of ballads is a poem or a song which is narrating a story in short stanzas. Okay, and he wrote this poem with his friend Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Now, Samuel is also another, a very famous and renowned poet. And because Wordsworth was a nature loving poet, he extracted things while he is in and around nature. So he wrote this poem while he was just taking a walk or a stroll near a village. And in this way, the idea of this beautiful poem came. Now, some of his notable works are The Solitary Reaper and My Heart Leaves Up. All these poems are a representation of beauty of nature. So now let's move on to the first stanza, students. Okay, students, I think now you're ready with your book, a pencil, and a rough copy. Okay, now let's start. I heard 1,000 blended notes while in a grove I sat reclined in that sweet mood when pleasant thoughts bring sad thoughts to the mind. So the first line says that I refers to the poet here, and he's saying that he is hearing a number of 1,000 blended. Blended means mixed. Please, children, write there mixed. Notes means music or sound. Okay, so he he heard 1,000 mixed sound or music. While in a grove I sat reclined. And when did he hear these 1,000 musical notes or musical sounds? While he was sitting in a grove. Grove means, please note down, write the meaning, a group of trees. A group of trees. So, you can assume that the poet was sitting in an orchard or a park. I sat reclined. Sat, SAT is used here instead of sat. The meaning is same. The SATE is an old English word. Okay? Reclined means, please children underline the word and write here that reclined refers to when you sit in a very relaxed position. I repeat, reclined means sitting in a very relaxed position. So, the poet was sitting in a grove. He was sitting in a very relaxed position. Okay, you can say that it were those moments were his leisure moments, and he was hearing 1,000 mixed musical notes, sounds, and music, maybe of chirping of birds or rustling of leaves or buzzing of the bees. Okay, We come to the third line. In the sweet mood means pleasant mood. He was in a very pleasant mood. Sweet mood, pleasant mood. When pleasant thoughts. Okay, so the poet was in a pleasant mood or sweet mood or happy mood. When pleasant thoughts. So in that pleasant mood, happy mood, some good thoughts came in his mind. So when eventually when you go in a park and when you sit there for a while seeing the beauty of the nature, a good thing starts coming in your mind. You feel, you feel good, you feel fresh. Okay, and so was the author feeling that time. Bring sad moments to mind, but suddenly his sweet mood, his happy mood changed into a sad thought. So here suddenly there was a transformation from pleasant thoughts to sad thoughts. Why? Maybe something clicked his mind, something came to his mind, and thereby there was a change in his mood. Okay? So once again I repeat, the poet was hearing 1,000 mixed musical notes while he was sitting in a grove, an orchard, or a park. He was very relaxed and he was sitting in a very relaxed posture. That particular time he was in a sweet mood, but we see that there is a change of, or you can say switching of mood from a lighter one to a real serious one. Okay, now children, let's move on to the next stanza. Okay, students, now we are in the second stanza. Okay, to her fair words did nature link the human soul that through me ran, and much it grieved my heart to think what man has made of man. So here the first line, to her, her here refers to the mother nature. Okay, fair works, underline this, these two words and write there. Fair works means creative and beautiful work done by nature. Okay, fair works refers to beautiful and creative work done by nature. So this is the meaning. Now, what kind of work Mother Nature has done? We all know that Mother Nature has created everything, whether it's plants, birds, insects, or human beings. So there is a connection between Mother Nature and humans. And what kind of connection is that? We know that our existence and survival, it's totally dependent on Mother Nature. And that's why the poet says that the human soul, soul is what? Soul is the ultimate, you can say a reference which says that we are still alive. The human soul that through me ran. Okay, the life, the human soul is the life that still I'm having, I'm still breathing, I'm still surviving. Okay, because I have a link with the nature. And even children, there is a a myth, or there is a saying that our we are made up of nature, we are made up of five elements. Okay, and ultimately we are going to die and be be in nature again. Okay, and much it grieved means pained. my heart to think. So there is, something which is uh, disheartening him, which is creating a pain in his heart. And what is that? What man has made of man. Now, this particular line is very important. It is the soul of the poem. Okay, you can say this is the theme of the poem. What man has made of man. This particular line, it's as you can say, it's a little sarcastic in nature. Sarcastic means it's a comment, a critical comment. And the poet is very thoughtful and serious that what we have done to the nature, okay, and ultimately what we have done to ourselves. Because when you destroy the nature, you're destroying yourself. Okay, and that's why the last line says, what man has made of man, what man has done to himself. He is destroying nature, he is in a way hurting himself, okay, and he is responsible for bringing down the human race. Okay, children. So now I think this particular stanza is clear. We are talking about the fair work, the beautiful and creative work done by the nature. Then we say that there is a link between nature and human soul. Yes, definitely. Our existence depend on nature. And then the poet says that it pains to see that what man has done to nature, and ultimately what man has done to himself. Okay. Okay, students, now we are in the third stanza. Through primrose tufts in that green bower, the periwinkle trailed its wreath, and it is my faith that every flower enjoys the air it breathes. Now, in the third stanza, students, the poet describes the beauty of the nature. It describes how these flowers, he talks about flowers like primrose and periwinkle, and how these flowers have added significantly, they have added in glorifying the beauty of the nature through primrose tufts. Now, primrose, it's a kind of a plant found in forest which bears pale yellow flowers. Okay, and these are spring flowers. And what is the meaning of tufts here? Tufts means a short cluster of elongated strands of grass. Means tufts is actually you know um a long you can say cluster. Means a long path which has short clusters. Okay, in that green bower is a shade. Okay, so you can just assume a painting where there is a tree, and under its shade these beautiful flowers like primrose and periwinkle are blooming. Okay, so the periwinkle trailed its wreaths. Now periwinkle is also a kind of flower. Okay, blue flowers. Trailed means it's drawn. Trailed means it's drawn. Okay, drawn, or following or followed. It's wreath. Now what is wreath? Wreath is an arrangement of flowers. Okay, so these periwinkles are drawn in a circular kind of arrangement. Okay, and it is my faith that every flower enjoys the air it breathes. So the poet is saying that it is his um, Faith means it is her belief that every flower, okay, enjoys the air it breathes. That means every flower is also a living soul, okay, which adds on to the beauty of the nature. And these flowers are also a part of nature. But then these flowers are not destroying or not sabotaging the nature. It's adding to its beauty. So students, the third stanza, once again it talks about primrose tufts. Primrose is a spring flower, and it's it's all grown in little clusters, small groups under the shade of a tree. Green bower, bower means shade of a tree. Alongside primrose there is another flower, that is periwinkle, and periwinkle is also a range. Trail means drawn into in a form of a reed. Reed means a ring shaped arrangement. And it is my faith that every flower, that means it's a belief of the poet that every flower enjoys the air, enjoys the nature, and adds on to the beauty of the nature. Okay, students?